Um, I was sitting here in bed. I almost forgot I was behind on Karen Reed, and I knew I have enough time to give y'all day 27. Shout out to I Don't Belong Here with Samantha Bengino. She does true crime from the psychological perspective. And me personally, I find her take to be a somewhat unusual take, but nevertheless, her take, quite frankly, has been pretty dead on. And with that being said, I'm gonna get into this day 27 and bid y'all good night. Let's get into it. Uh oh. One second, one second.
Those ARCA guys, man, they are just more and more impressive. Man, this guy is like dishonest to his core. Morning, everybody. Police cars, ambulances, fire department, emergency vehicles, and you, Brian Albert, a man who, by every measure, appears to be the man of the house. Stoic, he's a guy in charge, protects his family first and foremost, right? At no point do you wake up or go outside and say to somebody, why are you here? What if there was a gunman? Because you don't know. How do I know? There's 40 cops in front of my very small front yard. That's the bedroom window. Here's Sunny. Hey, hi, everybody. Here's my Sunny. Hello. Sunny barks if you walk by my window and sneeze. I wasn't going to record a video today, but then I stumbled upon this.
The key cycle 1162 contained the two triggers that you're talking about, right?
Yes.
That's the 3-point turn, I guess now a 3-point turn, right? Changing direction, and then the reverse at 24 miles per hour, correct?
Correct.
Here's the car at key cycle 1162 making a 3-point turn, driving the car onto the tow truck bed. More brilliant testimony from Trooper Paul, far and away, our favorite Massachusetts state police officer. Consciousness of guilt. Becomes unraveled because he's not in control.
Who anyone else was involved in those conversations?
The district attorney.
That would be Mr. Morrissey, is that correct?
Yes.
There you go. There's who our decision makers are from Michael
At some point,
Tucker.
it was forced to escape.
Unbelievable.
Close her up. Now you're starting to see the blurs easier.
See those two blurs?
Are moving around.
For a while now, I've thought that Jen McCabe's behavior is a little odd. Doesn't try to get the blankets. This man that she claims on the stand that she loved so much. He was my friend who I loved so much. There is no possible way that Jen McCabe could have searched something at 2:27 and it had shown up at 6 something. Whatever timestamp was on that deleted wall file is the time that she did that search. And she deleted it. Let's make sure and pin it on this girl who I hope kills herself. That's a class act. You are a class act, Michael Proctor. Definitely someone should give you a gun and a badge. 100% sure that Karen did not do this.
God save the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the I Don't Belong Here show, and I am your host, Samantha Beningo. Had a little snafu there because of some video that got stuck, so I apologize for that. And for those that don't know who I am a behavioral scientist, a master's level psychologist, counselor, a 6th-year PhD candidate, and a career psychotherapist. And we are here, of course, because what else would we ever want to talk about again, to talk about the Karen Read case. Hi, guys. It's so much fun to talk this week because we get to talk about the defense. So much better, my God. It's like a completely different world, right? Like when you go from, like you don't know what Hank is going to do and you don't know how long he's going to take. And it's just, you don't know who he's calling and you don't know what disaster awaits you. You just know that he's going to try to gaslight you, and whatever happens, it's going to be a disaster. And you have to you sit there with anxiety and like a pit of, despair in your stomach, but not anymore. Right? Now it's fun. It's like, oh, who's this? And what are they going to talk about? And which attorney is going to be working with them? And so it's
Blah, blah, blah.
like a completely different world. And I feel a lot safer kind of tuning out Hank. I still watch, of course. Actually, my secret is to walk away for a while once he takes over cross-examination and then listen on fast forward on a really high speed. So I can't take him seriously at all. And I don't really get anxious doing it that way. And it's just better. Because man, if he is not the most unlikable person that the world has ever seen, I don't know who could possibly be more unlikable. I really think Hank Brennan is the most unlikable person in the whole world.
Right next to Judge Babb.
He really, really is. He's just, it's terrible. So yes, fresh air, breath of fresh air. It's just a whole new world. It's like being back on Earth now that the defense is, highlighting their case in chief. And it's been quite the freaking 4 days. I'm losing track of time. Kind of feels like 4 years, right? But it's been quite the 4 days. Whoa. So, and it was funny. We started out with Matthew DeSogra, right? Wasn't super exciting. I mean, I actually really liked his testimony because it came on the heels of the Burgess and Welcher disaster. So it was kind of fun to see him pick them apart. At that time, I thought he was the appropriate choice for that very reason, while it's fresh in the jury's mind, right? And then since then, let's see. Who have we had a chance to see? So we started out with, what's his name? Demendez? What's his name? He's got a nice Italian boy name, and I can't remember off the top of my head. The Proctor text. We had the voir dire for the Proctor text. Then that's where we started this week. And then, which was really interesting, right? Because in the last trial, the Proctor texts were like this atom bomb that got dropped, but because that was in the morning and then we had Miss Devers, right? It's sort of like she just, honestly, at the end of yesterday, so that was actually 2 days ago with the Devers stuff, but I was still editing some stuff with her in it yesterday, and I completely screwed up and believed that that the Proctor text came in the day before, but it was all the same day is my point, right? It was all the same day. So I don't know. I mean, I have no idea what the jury is taking in and not taking in. And I want to hear from you guys, honestly, because at this point, my head is so far up the, you know what, I don't know. I don't know what the jury thinks. I'm a little worried because while I think the defense has done an amazing job of showing us that the taillight could have definitely been planted. I mean, 100%. Lucky was great today. I thought he held up.
My feelings about this trial, I got a feeling it's going to end up being a mistrial due to the way that Hank Brennan is completely screwing up this case left and right. And then you got Babb, Judge Babb, who, in my opinion, should be disbarred for judicial misconduct. But I digress.
so much. Actually, I will tell you the one thing that has been maybe the biggest surprise with this go around with the defense. Marie Russell was outstanding, and she was great the last trial. She was great, but it was like she was not at the top of her game the way she was with Alessi. And I don't know if it was personal stuff that she was going through or if she just was like much more prepared this time. But man, she was awesome. She was awesome. I can't believe how awesome she was. I absolutely loved her. She knew exactly what to say to Hank. She really like disarmed Hank. He was careful with her, as I think he is smart enough to know. Had he attacked her in the wrong way, it would have been very bad for him. But she handled him really well, and she was ready. She must have practiced because she was ready. She had like the comebacks down. She even like at that one point where she asked to see whatever she wanted to read the document or the report. I mean, she was great. She was so good. And my favorite moment, you probably already know what it is with her, was the moment where she starts talking about the trauma that Karen Reed would have endured that morning. She's like, well, do you want to know why I don't think the Hit'em statements matter? It was just the greatest thing. And then he thinks he's got her because he's like, well, do people, have a grief response, a year later on Dateline or whatever? And she's like, well, actually, they can. And she's right, because that is the only addition to the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual in the last 10 years. The only addition is something called prolonged grief disorder. Now, I'm not suggesting that she has prolonged grief disorder, but I thought it was incredible the way that Dr. Russell kind of like threw that in. It was great. She was great. She was so good. She was really good. She just far exceeded my expectations. I did not see Devers coming. Like, what was that? What was that? Yes, I see somebody in the chat. Okay, I see the chat now. I've got you guys near. Oh, here we go. Yes, Carmen says she had so much more confidence this time, and boy, did she ever, right? She looked good. Like, she was tan, I mean, she kind of had the Jen McCabe thing going, whatever Jen did to get ready for trial this time. It seems Dr. Russell did the same thing because she looked better, definitely a lot more confident, and she was ready. She was really ready. And then, like, the same thing with Lucky. I think I was worried about Hank, but he was ready. I mean, he was pretty defended, because Hank is a bully. He's like the bully that nobody likes. He did try. Boy, did he try. He really tried. And it got to the point where I was getting frustrated. That was one of the moments, probably about, a third of the way into the Lucky cross, I had to walk away because, all right, got to take care of myself. This is too much. I'll come back to it because it's upsetting. But so far, even he was much better than I expected. So I think so far the defense has been strong. I mean, I haven't seen anybody argue anything different. I mean, it would be hard to argue because their case has been quite strong. And of course, the star of the show, and I have to go back and watch the Nicholas Barrows testimony because I don't remember him being as strong in the last trial. Does anybody else remember him being as strong in the last trial? I meant to do that today. Hank was definitely bullied as a child. I could not agree with you more. Or he was the bully, It could go the other way, too. I'm not sure. He could just be evil straight through all the way. I have a hard time seeing him as ever a victim. I really do. I have a hard time. There's no part of me that goes, wow, I feel bad for him. It's very, very hard for me to see him that way. It just seems to me like he's just been an asshole his entire life. That's the way it feels. Like he was born that way. Yes, I'm not going to start with Auntie Bev just yet. That's a whole nother. That'll just send this whole discussion into outer space for the rest of the next however long we're here. Because that is a whole nother level of frustration. But I think it was nice to know that Miss Devers, if she did anything, she confirmed once again that the corruption is very real and at a very high level. And I will tell you, with her, I went back, I actually watched her testimony, I want to say 3 times, twice, very closely. First time, just like we all did in real time. And then I went back and I watched it more carefully because I could see, I have a bigger computer screen than I ever have before, just because of video editing. And I swear to God, you can see people's expressions so much more clearly with it. It's actually crazy. So I catch stuff, like I catch a lot more, and it's wild. I'm seeing these people's expressions. I'm going, before the night is over, I'm going to show you something I found from the last trial that I definitely want you to see also. But yeah, like her expressions, that woman, Kelly, Ms. Devers, was scared. She was legitimately scared. Whoever, whatever, they got to her, and she was terrified. The one thing I think she said on the stand that was dead ass true was that very last comment she makes to Hank, where she talks about how her life is on the line. And, Jackson, he highlighted it on redirect. He was on it. He didn't skip that beat for sure, but that was true. I mean, she was telling us the truth in that moment. Her entire life depended on what she said in that moment. And if she was gonna, go against the commissioner of the Boston Police Department. And not only that, I mean, I don't know if any of you are police officers, but I think we could all imagine what it must be like to have the entire Boston Police Department, all of your colleagues against you. So if she had said the wrong thing, it wouldn't just be that the heat would be coming down from the commissioner's office, right? It would be that the heat is coming down from all of her employees, all the colleagues, all the coworkers. And those guys can be evil. And I'm sure she was scared. Now, I know for a rookie, she's making an obscene amount of money. I don't know if you guys caught that, a little pay increase. Like she went from, I think it was like making 90,000 to 140,000 in between, when she had her little, forgetful episode, right? The rehearsed statement about what she forgot. Couldn't you just see, whether it was somebody from the Canton PD or from the Boston PD, bringing her a time card with a stamp on it and saying, no, you weren't here on that day. You clocked out at 3:30, right? Something like that, or it was the wrong day, whatever it was. Clearly she saw what she saw. Maybe it wasn't on, January 29th. Maybe it was on January 30th. Who knows? But yeah, she was scared. She was very defensive and she was scared. And so now we have, I guess, absolute confirmation, right, of the fact that the BPD is officially corrupt. I don't know if anybody else saw this. I believed it when I saw it. Now, I can't verify this, but if anybody was watching or tracking on X today, there was somebody who posted that she had sent an email to the commissioner. I don't know if anybody saw this. Anybody catch this? She had sent an email to the commissioner, and then 2 Boston cops showed up at her door, like the next day. Because obviously it was the next day. We've all been watching this in real time, right? So it would have been, Tuesday Monday she testified? Monday or Tuesday? God only knows. I don't even know what day it is now. Monday. She testified on Monday. On Tuesday, this person who had posted said that they showed up, 2 cops showed up at her door on Tuesday, but that they were actually very nice and had no idea why they were there, that their boss had just told.
Sounds like intimidation, you ask me.
Them to go to the house, right? Yeah, so okay, I see that Carmen saw it. And I believed it. Like the way she wrote it, it was very well written, and it played out as it was quite a lengthy, couple of paragraphs about that, recounting that story. And I was like, you know what? That probably did happen. Can't you see that happening? And I worry, I have to tell you, I'm in New York, right? I'm in Manhattan. I don't worry that the Boston Police Department is coming to get me in Manhattan, New York City. It's pretty safe here. I have a lot of friends in the New York City Police Department. I'm not worried about them. I used to treat the guys that got into trouble and gals that got in trouble with alcohol. So I have some friends there up in Yankee Stadium, whatever. And but if I was living in Canton, I'm not sure I would be blabbing my mouth quite the way that I am, or at least not comfortably. I might do it. I probably wouldn't be very comfortable doing it. I don't trust these people. I don't trust that they're not looking me up, whatever. I don't know, wherever they look people up, I imagine I might be on the radar. I imagine any one of us might be on the radar, right? I don't trust these people, and I don't think any of you should trust these people. And if you live in Massachusetts, you should be very concerned. These people are no good. Sorry. I mean, let's be frank, right? I mean, this is bad stuff. This is bad, you guys. It's bad. Do the right thing. And then, so we find out that the police commissioner, the Boston police commissioner, tells this young girl, right, I know you'll do the right thing or whatever it is. And then we hear Hank use it today. Do you think he realized that he did that? Do you think he realized that he then pulled that on Lucky today and used it in exactly the same way that it was implied it was said to her by the police commissioner? So I was like, man, Hank, this guy, I don't know. I really don't know. So it's been quite the adventure, right? I mean, it's nuts. It's very, very scary. I 100% agree. And one thing I want to make sure we take a look at today, and I absolutely want to get to your guys' questions and comments and thoughts about all this, because it's just there's so much going on. I want to quickly, and it's very quick because Proctor's texts are short, which is the great thing about the Proctor texts. But I really believe that with these text messages, it's a roadmap. I mean, this guy is so stupid that he gave us a roadmap as to what was going on within the first 10 hours that he's even on the case. I mean, I don't even know if if he had been officially on the case for 10 hours, right? So it's like the 10 p.m. hour on January 29th. I don't know if he was official until noontime on that day. So those texts from Proctor on the text thread with his elementary school friends, which is just so absurd. They're within hours, right, of all of this and of John O'Keefe's passing. And they tell us everything that we need to know. It's wild. It freaks me out because he tells us everything we need to know. So we have to take a look at that. And yes, absolutely. So Sergeant Barrows. So that's what I was starting to talk about. I don't remember. Can anybody in the chat tell us, did he drop the same bombshells the same way during the last trial? Honestly, I do not remember that. Now, I saw him testify, and I remember it being a big deal. But this time, I don't remember the story. I don't remember him being called in because of the plow. I don't remember his role, and I don't know why that is. I cannot tell you why I don't remember it the same way. But he was incredible. Right? I mean, he was incredible this time. He was just so good. So, and then, of course, Hank, being Hank, he just makes a bad situation worse pretty much all the time. So you can count on Hank for a couple of things. Of course, he's going to project. Of course, he's going to gaslight. Those things are given. He's going to try to keep Arca out always. I mean, obviously, he's still working on that. There was another motion today. I don't know if you guys saw it. I can't even look at them sometimes. I will bring it up if we have time. But so I don't know if Burrows was as awesome last time, but I wanted to send the man flowers. I was like, this guy is incredible. He is a hero. He is my hero. Where did he come from? Think about what he must endure, right? So here's an actual Norfolk County police officer who, okay, here we go. I see it here. So no, Barrows didn't. They didn't cross him last time because they didn't know what he was going to say. So right, so that's what my memory was. He didn't say very much. It was quick. I mean, he got the point across, right? I mean, the taillight was not shredded to pieces. The taillight was cracked. That's what I remember. But this time, I mean, right, exactly. When he said, absolutely not, Jennifer, exactly. I mean, he was so clear and he was great. He was so great. I love this guy. I seriously was like, if I had more time, I might have actually tried to hunt him down so that we could send him flowers or something, because this guy's a hero. Think about it. Like, he is a cop, so he's going to endure shit. I mean, definitely. Like, he's going to probably have to come up against it because people are going to be pissed. These cops are going to be pissed that he said what he said. He went against everyone, right? Yeah, so I read something about Barrow's accent. Okay, so I didn't know that. That doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me at all that there was some kind of an accident. But he was great. He was so great. And again, I don't know the details of the difference between his testimony this time and last time, but he was really good. Really, really good. And he is a sergeant now, so that was a big upgrade, right? It was, that makes a difference, I think, when we hear sergeant, it gives it a little bit more of a punch, take it a little bit more seriously. He was just very honest, I think. And that's the thing. The other thing I would caution all of us to consider, think about the caliber of human beings. The difference between the defense witnesses and the prosecution witnesses, just like the caliber of people. Like, even Lucky, the way that he was talking about the animals, I mean, you couldn't script it better. If somebody was sitting down with him and telling him exactly what to say word for word, you'd think, no, that's too much, don't say that. You tell him to take it out. But the way he threw that in there, and it was completely genuine. I mean, you honestly felt like he really, God forbid, you hit an animal. It was just, he's just like a wonderful, lovely, amazing human being. And that's the thing, right? That's the thing about the difference in these people. It's like these defense witnesses are like, these really, like, these people you'd want to hang out with. They seem lovely. They're not defensive. They're not intentionally trying to obstruct justice. They're not gaslighting. They're not just blatantly lying to you, right? Oh, yes, Michael Proctor has all the integrity in the world. It's just the absurdity, you guys. It's just, yeah. But the other thing that this trial, with the cracked taillight, and I don't know, again, this is the thing. What do you think the jury is thinking? Are they putting it together? So before I bring up the Proctor texts, I want to take a look at them. I wonder where the holes are. So I want to hear from you guys. Where do you think the jury might not be seeing things the way that we do? Where might they have gaps because they haven't gotten all of the information? And the biggest difference between Lally and Hank, and I think at the end, if Karen is acquitted, this will be why, because Hank is a lying scumbag who clearly tries to withhold information from the jury.
Very much.
And Lally did exactly the opposite. Lally was like, I'm just going to throw it all out there. I'm going to overwhelm you with information so that you can't even tell the difference between what matters and what doesn't. But because I'm doing that, it sort of seems like I'm not trying to hide anything, and so I must be telling the truth. And so I wonder what might the jury not see? So I'm turning to you guys. What do you think? Lisa Lynn writes, I hope they're getting everything they try to put out about Proctor. Yeah.
Yep.
I know that this group, obviously we all have heard that this group of jurors is like note-taking constantly. That one guy had already filled up 4 notebooks. So they're capturing the information, which is pretty awesome. I think one of the things that I worried about towards the middle of the last trial, when I learned that they were not going to be able to look back at any of the transcripts, that panicked me, because then all you have is what you remember. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but we misremember stuff all the time.
Yep.
All the time. How do I say your name? Kalanuku? You have to correct me if I said that incorrectly. The jury is mostly younger. That's right. That has to be considered as well. I know. Thank you. Thank you so much. Aloha. Oh, aloha. I'm so jealous that you're in Hawaii. Oh, my God. Oh, Hawaii is like the most beautiful place in the world. I can't even imagine what it would be like to live in paradise like you do. So I'm just incredibly jealous. I live in New York City, like seriously in the middle of the city. So it's just, and the summer in the city is basically like hell. It's like the antithesis of what Hawaii is. So I'm very, very jealous of you, particularly this time. But yes. And I asked my daughter this. So she's young. She's 11, doesn't really understand what it means to be a juror, right? Obviously. I tried to explain it. But I said, do you think that you would go home and go on social media or to research the case? And she didn't even, when I tell you she didn't hesitate for a second, she was like, yes.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What do you think the odds that all 12 of these people who are younger are not investigating the case? You know, I don't know. I don't know if I would or not. I really can't tell you if I would or not. I would be so curious. It would be very painful for me not to, but I think I would feel very, very guilty if I was.
Yep.
I think the increased number of visuals with the defense this time around is a help to a younger age jury. Absolutely. Yes. I totally agree. Well, you know, the video, right? So the waterfall video, that is a significant change. And microdots, I think, has been critical in that regard. So there's definitely been, and more clear visuals, right? They have the bigger screen. They're able to zoom in now, which is helpful. Also, I think, honestly, the change in the lawyers has been for Karen. You know, each one of them can put so much more time and effort into whoever it is that they are, working with, I guess, for lack of a better way to say it, whoever they are examining, whether it's on direct or cross or whichever, right? So I think that's a huge difference too. Like Alan Jackson and Yannetti are not carrying essentially the entire load now, which is huge. Alessi's been huge. I think Alessi was a big part of why Dr. Russell sort of was able to shine a little brighter, who knows exactly in what way, but they together seem to have a little chemistry that was cool to see also. And, and I certainly, all of her attorneys are amazing. I love them all. They're all incredible and amazing in their own way. But it's got to be a lot of work. Can you imagine having to prepare for all of these witnesses? I mean, so what do you think they might not be getting? What might the jury still not be clear on? I will tell you one of the things that I'm concerned about is that somebody says, wait, where is it? I think I lost it. Somebody said they're Googling like crazy. I saw that. That was funny. Yes, I think they might be too. Estrella03 writes, if I was a jury, I would like to know what people know, but not for myself. Maybe someone closer to me could tell me something about, compromise my jury issue. That's an interesting idea. I think what you're saying is, like, I might ask somebody else to their opinion and not maybe do the investigating on my own. I think that's what you're saying. Like maybe somebody you trust, get their view. I mean, listen, I don't know how many of you are in Canton or around Canton, but this is the center of the world for these people. It is everywhere you go. I mean, it's signs in the window, it's billboards, it's everyone, everywhere, all the time. I do not know how they could possibly miss it. The same way that Hank was pointing out, actually, with Lucky, how, like, he has to take pictures, and his friends are, constantly telling him about things that they see, whether it's with Turtle Boy or wherever else, right? So you can't miss it. It's in their face everywhere they are. And imagine...
And here's something I don't understand. What is this weird obsession with this blogger dude named Turtle Boy? It's weird.
Okay, so imagine one of your friends was on the jury. I would be having a hell of a time not contacting them. That would be very, very difficult for sure. I also have to mention, I cannot forget to mention the key cycles. I have to come back to that. So do not let me forget to mention the key cycles because it's important. Dave Brammer says, they went home and watched Karen's interviews after those snippets. I hope so, right? You hope so. I mean, that's the thing. It's a tragedy that in our legal system, so much of what the jury's allowed to see is carefully controlled. And I understand why, right? I mean, it makes sense that, there are things that should certainly are not true. How do you know what's true and what's not true and all of that? And I get that, but it's so much of it is cherry picked and watered down, and you have to fill in the holes, and it's just it's an imperfect system. Maybe that's the best way to say it. It's an imperfect system. And we haven't seen Arca yet. Right. So Amy says, I think the jury needs to hear Arca say that there was not an accident because, yes, right now.
Facts.
They haven't. Right? Right now they haven't. They haven't heard that. Exactly. I'm trying to think. I've tracked a lot of people's comments all the time, both comments that are on any of my videos, but also comments everywhere, everybody's comments. And it seems like people that think Karen is guilty appear to believe that Welcher was providing credible information. But and maybe it's just because I am so on top of the details, what I have come to understand about the way that these so-called pay-to-play accident reconstructionists in an Aperture, the way that I'm understanding Aperture and what they did here was they essentially took information that is not built to and has never really been used the way that they were using it to try to say that there was a event at that time, that the backing event happened in unison with John O'Keefe's cell phone time. And that because all of the data that they pulled together, no matter which set of data you go by, whether it was the first set from the January report or the second set from the May updated report, which was a completely different strategy to try to get to different numbers by Burgess, either way, it's very unorthodox, like it's never been done. And that came through to me on the in Matthew DeSogra's testimony, but I don't know if it came through clearly for everybody. I was, for whatever reason, paying very close attention to that, mostly because when I get something in my head, I get obsessive, clearly, and when I could not understand the key cycles. It drove me insane, as some of you might already know. I could not understand how we could still be talking about key cycle 1162 if key cycle 1164 was where Trooper Paul started his testing. And because I was unable to get over that, this wonderful human being emailed me and basically gave me all of the information I needed to understand it. And because I have that information, I was able to understand Burgess, Welcher, and Matthew DeSogra's testimonies really easily. But I have no idea whether any of that was even like if it just went way over everyone's head on the jury or if they understood any of it, right? Yes. So hold on. Oh my God, you guys, it goes so fast. It's so hard to keep up. I'm just going to start pressing. Hi, Juju Bean from Kentucky. Welcome. We're happy to have you. So the one thing I will tell you that I'm a little worried about because in the first trial, well, there's a number of things I'm worried about, but one of the biggest things is, so we know that Lucky did not see a body on the front lawn. And we know that Jen McCabe said she did not see a body on the front lawn, right? Well, I guess we know that Sarah Levinson did not see a body on the front lawn. I'm just concerned that the jury won't have as many people's testimony repeatedly kind of saying that, right? Like the first trial, we heard everybody in the house saying that they didn't see anybody. And that is a very small front lawn. And if you have not been to 34 Fairview with your own eyes, it is exponentially smaller than it looks like on the screen. Even though it's obviously small on the screen, it is that much smaller in real life. So question, Justine. Hi, Sam. Love your insight and knowledge. When someone is picked for jury service, is that sequestered? No. As well, can the person tell another that they are on a case? Well, they're not sequestered. So, I mean, you can sequester a jury, but I think actually in this case, the defense did not want them sequestered because the locals are very favorable to Karen. That's why they did not request to move to a different county. You could make the argument, I was arguing that they moved to a different county because I thought they're never going to get a fair judge if they stay in Norfolk County. I wanted them to move to Berkshire County, which has happened in other cases because Berkshire County is all the way far west. So it's completely removed from Norfolk County. I thought that would be a better choice. But the reason why the defense did not want them to be sequestered and removed from Norfolk County is because they think that they have a much better shot because the locals, the community is like an 85% of that community is behind her. So they're not sequestered. Can they tell? I don't think there's any, you guys correct me if I'm wrong. I do not think that there's a deliberate jury instruction that says you cannot tell anybody that you're on the case. I don't think I've heard that. You are not supposed to be talking about the case. You're not supposed to be deliberating until you go into deliberations. You're not supposed to be like chatting about the case. You're not even supposed to be like talking to your significant other about the case. So I guess as an extension of that, you're not telling people you're on the case theoretically. But I don't think there's any, I don't think it's so clear to be honest. I mean, you hear the judge at the end of every day. What does she say? She says, try not to look at your social media. I mean, that is very much not hard and fast. So I don't know if that answers your question, and everybody's different. Like, that's the thing about all these different states. The states are all very different too, which is another factor. Okay. So Lori, DL1 at Sharon Reeves. She isn't in the trial thus far. CW didn't call her. Defense probably won't. Julie Nagel. Okay. Yes. Julie Nagel. I mean, I don't know what Julie Nagel would offer.
Ooh, I didn't know this thing was almost in that hour and 30 minutes. And I'm going to try my best to get through most of it, if not all. So with that being said, let's get back into it.
I mean, if anybody was going to call her, I would think it would be the Commonwealth, because she alleges that there's a blurry blob or something that obviously isn't true, but because that is something she all of a sudden started saying like 2 or 3 years after the fact, right? Just before the last trial.
Ah, crap.
There's something to be said for living in the moment, but there's something magical.
Crap, I didn't mean to screw that up. Here we go.
2 or 3 years after the fact, right? Just before the last trial. But I don't know. So the other thing, so I'm worried about whether the jury understands that many people did not see anybody there. That's a concern. I also, and I want to show you this clip. Now, this is a really fast clip, you guys, so it's like literally seconds. That's my daughter. Say hi, everybody. Hi, Penelope. Penelope is 11. I saw somebody ask. That's her. Stay for Life. If you're not familiar with the Stray Kids, that's a K-pop band, and she's a What? A very big fan? Hi, Penelope. She doesn't have school tomorrow, so she's up past her bedtime, but we let her do it because she's not in school tomorrow. Okay, so I want to show you this clip. It is chilling. It is chilling. Wait, hold on. Colin had the video record to hand jury. Mark Gary says Colin had the video record to hand jury. I don't know what that means. That might be a question or a response to somebody's question. I'm working on my theory of the case video, and it has a lot of Colin in it. And it's a real shame. I mean, this is a whole other conversation, but the fact that this judge did not allow Colin to be included is kind of a disgrace. Just saying, it's kind of a disgrace. It's another one of those Judge Beverly Cannoni disgrace moments. So I want to show you this very quick chilling. There's a couple Brian Higgins sort of chilling moments, and this is why I'm not sure, but it concerns me that the defense might want to bring Brian Higgins into the fold. Okay, so this is a video that I did. This is such a quick statement, so you have to pay really close attention, and hopefully you can see it. Can you see it on the screen? Do you guys get to see it on the screen? Because I can't see you now. No, okay. Here it is. I'm adding you to the stage, add to the stage. Oh, okay. I don't know why. It's like this one window does not seem to want to work. So let me try a different window. I'm going to try one more time. It's not super important. I just think it's really interesting. So let me see if I can get this to work. Here we go.
Come on.
Recall, I want to make sure I'm clear about some of your prior statements. You had a formal interview with some folks prior to your testimony at a prior proceeding. You understand what I'm talking about?
I'm tracking.
Okay. Yes or no?
Yes.
You indicated in that formal interview that even Chief Berkowitz was
Objection.
quote, a little afraid of Brian Albert.
Actually, he says, even Chief Berkowitz is a little afraid of Brian Albert. That to me is a little chilling. It's a little chilling.
What the hell
The
you
jury is
afraid of
not
a grown
getting-
ass man?
In my opinion, the reality about Brian Albert, and that is a really important detail. Now, if you guys think I'm wrong, I would love you to say I'm wrong because this really concerns me. And I will tell you why it concerns me so much. Brian Albert is the reason why I believe that Karen Read is innocent. Because the more that I learned about Brian Albert, and it didn't take long, the more I had never been so sure in my entire life that he was lying. That there is absolutely no way what Brian Albert was saying is possible. Like, there is no universe where Brian Albert did not know all of those police officers were on his front lawn. There's no world that is not possible. I don't care if somebody had drugged him. I don't care. Like, there's not enough heroin or drugs. Not enough. Like, it would have to be, like, surgery, even then, there's no world where Brian Albert does not wake up in that situation. And obviously, Brian Albert swears that Chloe, the like 90-pound German Shepherd, was by his side. Or she could have been in the closet. I'm sorry. Those things can't be true. It just can't be true. I've heard people that are, aggressively against Karen Read say, well, it was windy out. And I'm like, are you trying? What? Show yourself some respect, Like, it was windy. Do you know that that's Brian Albert? Like, I don't know. I think Brian Albert is a scary guy. I think he is a scary guy for a reason. I think he has a reputation that precedes him. And I think he knows how to wield it. And I think that's what happened here, to be frank. I don't think he intentionally hurt John O'Keefe. But I do think that he was the one that took charge after whatever happened. Like, he's the guy in charge. He's the guy telling little Jen McCabe what to do and when to do it and how to do it. He's the guy telling everybody who to say what on the stand, what to say when. He's the guy making the strategy for the whole group. So, I don't know. I don't know how you present Brian Albert to this jury, but I think that's a missing piece, and I think it's an important one. Okay, so having said that, Josie Lou and Co. sends $9.99 and says, hello, love the show. Hank versus Burroughs, lucky Karina. Hank didn't dare, no, I know, right? Didn't dare touch Karina, but the fear he inflicted towards Barrows should be a psychologically intimidating hate crime. I totally agree with
Very
you.
much so.
Hank is such a bad person. He's just a bad human being.
Dude's a dick.
There's no other way to say it. Like, Hank Brennan isn't a cruel lawyer. We've all seen cruel defense attorneys. We've all seen them. We've all felt anger towards defense attorneys. Typically they're defense attorneys, not always, but typically. This is not that. This is not what this is. This guy is a bad guy. Like, that's the only way to say it. And what makes him bad, the worst thing about Hank Brennan, is he will lie through his teeth. And he will swear up and down. He will argue that it is not what you think it is. And then show you with every fiber of his being, it is exactly what you think it is. That is like the worst kind of person. It really, really is. It really, really is. That's what makes him just horrible, frankly.
Evil.
Just a horrible person. Yeah, horrible person. CC says Jen McCabe spoke to Brian Albert even if she didn't dialed her sister's number. Okay, so you think that she spoke enough? Like, she presented whatever Jen McCabe was doing on the stand, it echoed the sentiment enough about, not going into the house and how weird that might have been. I will say, assuming that Karen Read is acquitted, there's going to be one day an incredible highlight reel from this trial. And one of my favorite moments, I've been thinking about doing it all along, because so I'm like building the highlight reel in my mind. And honestly, one of my favorite moments is the end of Jen McCabe's cross-examination, where Alan Jackson waits until the very end, and then he just like unloads on her, and he says everything that for the last 2 years, or the last year at least, year and change, that I've had in my mind to want to say to her. Just like, you are a horrible person, and how could you be doing this, right? How could you be doing this? I'm not sure who. I don't know who you mean. So because I don't know who you mean, I can't speak to what you're saying. Auntie Bev, a.k.a. Taillight Confetti Fairy, at CC, watch yesterday's trial. I wonder who's not seen yesterday's trial. Hank makes crap up and hides it with more words. Oh, it's so much worse than that, right? Subisu, what Hank did here is he created a story. He started with a story, right? So he's like, all right, what's the story I want to tell? I want to highlight that she was drunk, that they were fighting, and that whether it was an accident or not, she killed him. And so that was the starting point. And then the question was, how am I going to tell that story? Whether any of it is
Pretty
true
much.
or not. Josie Lou and Co. says, Dever.
I was gonna get through the whole thing, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to. But I'll try to get y'all much as I can.
Slide 2. CHS graduate with Chris Albert Jr., Benny Berkowitz, Julie Nagel, and Sarah Levinson. You are the class of 2016? Is that what you're saying? That's interesting. So Deborah's a nightmare. She was a nightmare, but I gave her a little. I'll tell you, I felt a little bad for Deborah. I put her. Okay, Chris got all these people. You know, I feel like there's just so much. Each one of these people has like a special situation, a little different, right? So, for example, Deborah was terrified. I mean, she was scared, and at the very end, she outs it. She says, like, my life is over if I say the wrong thing up here. She didn't say exactly that way, but that is what she said. So I felt for her. She was a horrible person, and what she did was horrible and a total disgrace. However, I put myself in her shoes, and I can't imagine how horrifying life would be. I mean, you'd have to move to Alaska. If she said the wrong thing and it wasn't acceptable to the police commissioner, she would never be able to work in Boston again, at the very least. Chris is a different kind of asshole. You know, he is. I feel a little bad for Chris, too, only because, I'll tell you why, before everybody goes nuts on me. I've watched Chris's testimony really carefully. And again, these are the things that's like a shame that the jury didn't get to see any of this, because all of these people testifying is really, really interesting at the very least, but I've watched his testimony closely. He feels horrific about what happened to John, and doesn't make him a decent person. I'm not saying he's a decent person. He does know how to make pizza. I'll give him that. But, I mean, he's a scumbag. Like, he is. I mean, he is. But I don't think he's a murderer, and I definitely know that he carries a heavy heart for what happened to John. I mean, what was he going to do? Right? I believe Colin was involved, you know? So, what are you going to do? If that's your kid, what do you do? Clearly, if you're an Albert, you don't turn them in. You don't let them learn the lesson the hard way, that's for sure. Clearly, right?
Good night,
So,
y'all.
okay. I want to show you guys these text messages because and these are very